guys, I'm Ariana. Thank you for coming by my channel. I am so excited about this video. One of the reasons I started this booktube channel pretty recently, by the way, is that I wanted to get back to the way that I used to read, and I'm getting there. I've already ramped it up so much since I started, and I'm so happy to be reading more again. So I thought that I would start this out. I'm going to be sharing my bookish goals of 2019. My first goal, I'm just doing it. I'm just going hard. I want to read 100 books in 2019. Since I started tracking my book reading a few years ago on Goodreads, I've never hit that. However, this year, I'm about to hit 50. I'll get over 50 by the end of the month. I have a couple audiobooks that are almost done. So that was without really trying. I wasn't reading as much. A lot of them are audiobooks, which I didn't used to count, actually. I didn't count that as reading to myself. And now, you know what? I say no more to that. I'm counting it because I'm very busy. And for all the people who that is their only way to read, of course it counts. It fucking counts. Anyway, I hit 50 without really trying this year. So I really want to push myself, and I really want to read 100 books in 2019. So I'm a little scared. I don't want to push myself too hard, because I am an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I'm a hypnotherapist, healer, counselor. I teach classes on meditation, but I also am leaving the restaurant and starting a new part-time job for 3 days a week as an in-home care specialist, and she really just needs companionship, so I may be able to have time to read there, which is going to be very nice. So there's a lot of change going on. I go to networking events, so I don't want to overdo it, but at the same time, I really love reading, and I'm so excited to read more. So I wanted to give myself that nice, round, scary number to get to. So 100 books, that's my goal for 2019. See how I do. This next goal is to read 2, I call them study books, a month. So I'm almost done with my continued education. So I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I need to complete 450 hours of continued education to get my clinical hypnotherapy certification, so that I can work in hospitals, do hypnobirthing and surgery and all that stuff. So I'm almost done with that, but I want to always be learning. Always be moving forward and learning new things, trying new things when it comes to ways to help my clients. And this is something that I'm passionate about anyway. Most of these books, this is not my fiction wall. These books are world religion, spirituality, meditation, psychology, science, all sorts of stuff like that. So, self-help, personal development, all that good stuff. So I want to read at least 2 of those types of books a month, whether it's self-growth or law of attraction or meditation or more science-y books about, cognitive behavioral therapy or therapeutic practices. So I'm just calling them those are my study books. So 2 of those a month. Okay. Continuing on with my goals. My next goal is not a number, it's just more of a something. It's to expand my reading taste to include more thrillers, historical fiction, contemporary, etc. I do read a lot of different genres, but over the past few years that I've been starting my business and going to school and having a life, I tend to just go back to my old reads that I love, or just really focus on fantasy. Fantasy is what I normally read. Sci-fi and fantasy. Sometimes YA, sometimes not. But that's typically where I fall, like when I want to read a book. That's what I look at. I go to the sci-fi and fantasy section, and that's where I go. So even though I do read a lot of other types of books, that's what I always gravitate towards. So I want to focus more and bring more other sorts of books back into my reading, especially since I'm going to be reading 100 books next year. And a big reason for this is that I just finished The Girl on the Train and really liked it, and I hadn't read a thriller in a while, so I'm going to read some more. So that's sort of a general goal. I want to read more of different types of genres. I'd like to throw some classics in there too. I used to read classics a lot. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Vanity Fair. I loved those, so I'd like to read a few classics as well. Okay. Ooh, but this one, something I have never really done, except for when I was like following a series and getting the sequels, is I've never really read new releases, ever. And I think a lot of that has been, since I now have my own money, I'm working hard to get it, I haven't had the time, really, ever, since I've really been making my own money. So it's hard for me to go out there and buy a brand new book. But you know what? No, it's not. Because I buy a lot of thrift store books, used books. I get a lot of book gifts, so I have tons of books. But my goal is to read at least 5 new releases in 2019. I feel like I'm years behind every time I pick up a book that, I've been like hearing about it, seeing it. I'm years behind and everybody else has already read it. So I don't want to completely go to that because I love older books. I love finding books at thrift stores. I'm not going to abandon that habit at all. So I love that. But I do want to move toward reading more, being more up to date with what's going on. So 5 new releases in 2019, at least. My next one, is probably going to be the hardest thing for me ever. And it just says, Unhaul Some freaking books. This one for me is so hard. I've only ever really unhauled books when I have duplicates and didn't really care about the covers. Growing up, I didn't have access to a library most of the time unless I was at school, and we didn't have a lot of money, so I had to reread all my books and hoard my books. So I've been hoarding books, and I buy a lot of books, and I hoard them. And people who help me move hate me. And I want to definitely read more of these books that I have, that I've just bought, because I want to narrow that number down. So I want to read more of the books that I already have, but then I want to start, it breaks my heart. I gotta start unhauling some books. And I think that another reason why this has always been so hard for me is that when I first started studying spirituality and world religions and all this stuff, I started studying that at age 5. And going around, I didn't find stuff about like paganism or other religions or anything. It was hard to find new agey self-development stuff when I was growing up. There wasn't a big section for it in the library or bookstores. I had to really go diving for it. Now it's a lot more readily available, but I had this idea, one day I'm going to have this office and I'm going to have sort of a lending library of these sorts of books because it was so hard for me to find them growing up. And that makes me sort of just buy everything that I see when I go to the thrift store, even if I'm not going to read it, which I do want to read them. But when it comes to my fiction books, I've kind of been doing the same thing. Like, I've just been hoarding them. And it's gonna break my heart. But I've got to unhaul some books. I've got it. And that's where I'm going to be doing a lot of rereading and going through my shelves and reading stuff that I haven't read to really decide if I want to keep it for some reason. Like, if I don't love a book, or if I don't really enjoy it or like it or find some sort of value in it or like want to share it with a kid someday, you know, or keep it around because I want to share it with somebody. Like, if I don't have a reason for having it other than just having it, oh god, I'm gonna get rid of it, and that's gonna be rough. So I think that's gonna be a really tough one for me for this year. And then part of that, my last reading goal, I think, is to reread 5 old favorites. I think this has to do with my rating system. I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out how to rate books. I still don't really know how to do that. I usually would only rate something if I absolutely love it, and I didn't really I don't like to talk bad about things, you know? So I'm curious to see how going back and reading some of my old favorites will help me understand how I want to rate books going forward. Like, am I going to change those ratings? Why? You know, it's more of like an experiment for me on learning how to rate and review books. And then these are I have 3 more goals that are more of not so much of reading, I guess. So this one is to post a video at least once a week. I'm not going to push myself too hard on that, but, well, because I was trying to do a weekly reading blog and these other books, I'm going to go tentatively into this world because I have a lot going on in my life, and I'm very excited about all of it. But I do want to at least post something once a week. So that is my minimum goal for my BookTube channel. And next one, I want to do a buddy read. I've never done a book club or anything, but I really think that would be fun to do that. So I want to do a buddy read. Yeah. And then the last one, which is the most important goal, and if you haven't added it to your list of goals, you should. It's to fucking enjoy yourself. Alright? That's the whole point of me making this channel. That's the whole point of me wanting to read. That's the whole point of all of this. To fucking enjoy myself. So I think that is going to be what I remind myself over this year. If I ever get stressed out about meeting all these goals, I'm going to go point myself back to that goal, which is, hey, fucking enjoy yourself. Alright? So thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear about some of your goals and what you thought about my goals. You know, I love goals, and I'm really excited about 2019. I feel really good about it, and I'm going to go do some reading, and yeah, I will see you guys around the tubes. Bye.